I now welcome a representative of Page Research Centre. I understand that information on parliamentary privilege and the protection of witnesses giving evidence to Senate committees has been provided to you. For the Hansard record, will you please state your full name and the capacity in which you appear today?
Gerard Holland, and I'm the CEO of the Page Research Centre.
Thank you. Would you like to make a short opening statement, and then senators will ask you questions?
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to address you all. So energy isn't just an input into the economy. Energy is the economy. Whether you grow it, dig it up, manufacture it, process it, refrigerate it, transport it, consume it at home or sell it, that requires energy. And if the cost of your energy goes up, the cost of every single input along that value chain goes up, and that means the cost to the end consumer goes up. Now, it's no secret that we're in a cost of living crisis at the moment, and when you look at our energy market, our energy trajectory, we've seen energy prices increase in real terms by 60% over the last 10 years and by about 40% in real terms since we've had an official adoption of net zero. Now, despite this, our energy debate in the public isn't as robust as it probably should be. There are obviously trade-offs in any policy decision, and I think trade-offs around cost, around resilience, supply chain security, and land use, they haven't been given as much airtime, particularly by our public broadcaster and other prominent voices in the media. It's often relegated to Sky News and your more tabloidy kind of organisations, but these are really important considerations. And what I'd propose is that one of the reasons for that is there's been a quite intentional disinformation campaign that's been funded oftentimes from overseas sources that has created a network of third parties to really prosecute this case. So over the past decade, these organisations have proliferated, and especially around delegitimising the use of coal and now increasingly oil and gas generation in Australia, and their goal has been to delegitimise it both socially and economically, whilst amplifying the transition towards renewable energy. So we took a bit of a look at these organisations in this network, and in just 23-24 alone, they secured over 170 million Australian dollars. This is a huge war chest of cash, 170 million Australian. This is more than the major parties raised combined during that same year. Some of the major organisations include the Sunrise Project, which is the biggest. They raised 76.8 million and spent about that same amount as well. Greenpeace on 25 million, the EDO, Environmental Defenders Office, 17.8, the Australia Institute, 10.6, the Climate Action Network Australia, 6.8, GetUp, 6.4 million, Environment Victoria, 4.1, Nature Conservation Council, 3.6 million, Market Forces, 3.4, and Friends of the Earth Australia, 2.9. That is just a snapshot and is certainly not all of them in their totality. Now, the current anti-coal movement, I'm sort of alleging, can be traced to a 2011 funding proposal attributed to John Hepburn. Now, John was formerly the Executive Director of Greenpeace Asia Pacific, and now he is the Executive Director of the Sunrise Project Australia. And that proposal, which I've tabled in our submission, and it was also tabled in Queensland State Parliament, sought international philanthropic support for a coordinated campaign to phase out coal in Australia, with initial funding reportedly secured from the Rockefeller Family Fund. Now, we traced some of these organisations and we found over $108 million has come into Australia from foreign organisations over the last 10 years and have directly funded some of these organisations, and we name and discuss those in the appendix. Now, the way these organisations work is almost like a division of labour, and they lay this out in quite explicit detail in their funding proposal back in 2011. But essentially, the Sunrise Project is the financial engine, so they channel the money in oftentimes from foreign sources. They're a charity and they don't have associated entity disclosures, so we don't really know how they spend their money. They take it in from the US, Europe, other sources who we may not know because they haven't declared, and then they funnel it through Australia. Now, we were looking at the 23-24 disclosures, but from the most recent 24-25, we know, for example, they gave $450,000 to GetUp, which is obviously a quite active political organisation. They gave $340,000 to the ACTU, and they gave $165,000 to the CFMEU whilst they were under administration. So clearly involved in quite aggressive political activities for an environmental charity with a huge war chest. Then you've got organisations like Greenpeace. They're obviously very good for media stunts and drawing attention. the Australia Institute, which acts as a research arm and sort of legitimises anti-coal, anti-gas sentiment, and also draws attention to the potential economic benefits of renewables without a real consideration, I would argue, of some of the trade-offs. The EDO, which is obviously the legal disruptor, who have been enormously successful, sucked up tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars of capital around the country. And oftentimes just completely delaying projects outright. Various state-based organisation groups, the Smart Energy Council, which is an industry lobbyist, and then you've got GetUp, which sort of mobilises grassroots on the ground. But their strategic purpose that they set out was to destroy coal's social licence through protest stunts and relentless messaging, portraying coal as illegitimate and unnecessary, to shift the economic narrative, to produce reports and polls that claim renewables are cheaper, even when this isn't really substantiated in real-world data, either in Australia or anywhere around the world, to litigate and obstruct projects and really extract as much of a financial cost to industries to pursue these projects, and then mobilise public and political pressure, which makes it very difficult to talk about. And I know personally, since I've started talking about this, I've had brand new social media accounts set up which never existed previously, attacking me, trying to draw associations through organisations I have nothing to do with, and coming under after my legitimacy. And we're a relatively small organisation. When I took over as CEO, it was just a part-time director role 2 days a week. I've been able to grow this because I'm deeply concerned, and I've sort of been advocating on these messages, but I'm a tiny, tiny player compared to this network, and it almost feels like the eye of Sauron has come on us and our activities, and so I can only imagine for others in the public light how much pressure that must really come under.
Thank you.